The Independent Police Investigative Directorate, IPID, has added an additional charge of possession of prohibition of ammunition against 2 police officers from Eldorado Park Crime Prevention Unit. The 2 policemen are expected to appear in court on charges of murder and defeating the ends of justice regarding the death of Nathaniel Julius. We are now joined by IPID spokesperson Ndilega Qola. Ndilega, good evening. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm going to ask us just to start with the latest developments that we're seeing coming out from the IPID. Of course, what prompted the addition of more charges?
Good evening, and thank you for having us on board. What is happening is that this case, the investigation of this particular case is ongoing. So as our investigators today were on the site and working on the development of their routine investigation process, have picked up that there's a weapon, that there's an ammunition that the police officers that are alleged to have killed Nathaniel were in possession of, and in terms of the law, it's not an ammunition that were authorized to have. So based on that, on those developments, then it has been, the third charge has been added.
And do we know anything more about this ammunition? Are you able to tell us? I know, of course, they're still going to appear in court on Monday.
Indeed, they are still going to be appearing in court, and more details will become available and in public once they've been discussed in court.
And Ndilega, you know, people have really been lauding the quick move to have these officers arrested. People in Eldorado Park have really welcomed this. How did the decision come about? Because we saw during the day the minister saying that, you know, the officers not going to be placed on suspension while there's a pending investigation. Then we saw IPID, of course, go to the scene as well. We saw the IPID head talking to journalists yesterday. And then we saw the statement that came in the evening. How did, you know, the organization reach the decision to effect these arrests?
Okay, as the investigation occurs, remember what was ought to have happened initially was that IPID should have been informed of what happened on Wednesday, because this incident occurred on Wednesday. So if IPID was informed on time and was able to get into the scene and get to detect what occurred, and once our investigators detect what had occurred, they would have been able to do what we call a preliminary report. And by IPID not being informed on time, then it became a disadvantage for this institution to be able to do its investigation on time. As such, then there were delays. So, but as the investigation then and detection work occurs, because remember, as I'm speaking to you right now, our investigators, our experienced team of investigators are working on this matter. And this matter has been given, of course, priority by IPID because it's one of those cases that require urgent attention. So IPID has prioritized this matter, and because it has been prioritized, and our senior investigators are working on it to ensure that they're gathering evidence as much as possible. So it's a developing story, if I can say. It is investigation process, and the more the developments in the investigation, the more then we communicate. So it's a matter of communicating as and when information becomes more available on this incident.
And Ndilega, if I can ask, what reasons has IPID been given for not being informed on time?
Well, at this point in time, we have not really received reasons that IPID was not informed on time. But in terms of the IPID Act, the commissioner has the responsibility to inform IPID as soon as they learn about the incident, and that is in terms of the IPID Act. So that is something that IPID is yet to still find out as the investigation unfolds. Because remember, the entire investigation process must be allowed, and it must be given space to unfold. It also includes the reasons why this institution was not informed on time.
And let's talk about the team of investigators that you say are at the scene and continue to investigate and do their work here. Are they receiving cooperation?
There is cooperation is growing. Yesterday, by the end of the day, there were still challenges, but today, as the investigation progresses, it's becoming better, and we are receiving some sort of support and cooperation from SAPS as well as the community.
And without going into, the merits of the case, what can you tell us about these officers that have been that are behind bars?
Well, there isn't much at this point in time that that we can tell you about these officers, except that they've been charged for murder, and there's the possibility of a charge for defeating the ends of justice, as well as the latest developments of being in possession of a prohibited ammunition. So those are, and then they will be appearing in court, in Protea Magistrate Court on the 31st of August, which is Monday. So, and then until Monday, there isn't much that we are able to disclose about them, about the suspected police officers.
As a final question from me tonight, Ndilega, is IPID confident in its investigation in the case here?
Definitely. Our team of investigators that are committed in doing their job, that are diligent, that are experienced in doing the detective work, are doing their best. IPID is very fortunate to have investigators that when they're doing their job, they have no fear, they have no favor. Police officials, ask your normal police officers about IPID officials. They know that once they docket, once IPID officials get into the scene on time, the rest is going to be history for them in terms of being in the police service. I think maybe that is even one of the reasons why IPID was not informed on time, because police officers, your ordinary police officers know that. And if and only if an IPID official gets hold of that case on time and they get all the necessary evidence, they are going to face the full might of the law.